What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back today with our second match preview of the new season. It is match week 2 already, if you can believe it. I feel like August is flying by. So we're going to talk about this as United travel to face Fulham at their ground. Sorry, my computer just did a madness there. So we are previewing that today. We'll talk tactics. We'll talk a little bit about what maybe we learned and would like to see change from the Arsenal match. A couple things here and there, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Of course, we're going to talk transfer news as well because we got some big news today as well. So we are going to get into all that first and foremost. So like the video. We're just going to jump right in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Check that memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the content that we put out here on the channel, whether that's what ifs, whether that's getting involved in the kickabout, any of that stuff. Check the memberships. It'll break it all down for you. It is more than just cool emojis and badges next to your name. Try to hook you guys up. Make sure you got the notification bell hit so you don't miss out on anything. Check out the UVE store as well. Tons of brand new designs. Dylan was just texting me last night. I think he discovered the Fergie Time shirt that I put up there now. You guys can go check that out as well. And then as you can see in the top right corner, there is a code. If you want to go to GoGoalShop, use that code on the screen to register. You'll get $5 off. They do have all 3 of this year's shirts. So without further ado, let's jump in. I just got this in the mail as well. This is from John Cotterill, another one. This literally just came out. I just got in the mail, and the reason I got this, I haven't gotten to read it yet. I literally just got here, is because it's a sequel to this, which you guys have seen me and heard me refer to many times. I actually cited this book, Anatomy of a Football Scout, in one of my papers for the PFA course because there's a lot in here about what scouts look for and stuff. But this one, the new one, has a lot to do with how scouting in general is changing now with technology, data analysis, AI, even all that kind of stuff. So very good books. Anyone who just likes that whole allure of scouting and things like that, John Cotterill's got a couple of bangers. Then there's this cool one too. If you guys are also, it's called The Nowhere Men. It's another book by Michael Calvin. Good book about scouting as well. This has definitely got a little bit of that old school vibe to it. So I do enjoy scouting. As you guys know, I always on the lookout for some good books and things. And so I thought I'd throw those up there. I think I've probably put Anatomy of a Football Scout on my books video that I put out like last December or something before I went on my trip. I did put out a video. There's like 10 or 12 books in that video that I think football fans, United fans should check out. So if you haven't yet seen that video, and if you are a bit of a bookworm like myself, as you can see, there's a whole nother one of these things directly across from me too. I got a lot of books, probably close to like 800 books. It's ridiculous. And that's after I've gotten rid of a few as well. I donate them all to the library, but if you like books, there's a couple there. I'm always, if anybody does want to know if there's any good books about this or that, feel free to ask. I've got plenty behind me. I'll be sure to put you in the right direction. So let me see what everybody's getting involved in here, guys. Make sure you liking Box. Big up, Box. Good to see you. Yeah, we're talking all about that. You guys know, if you looked at the thumbnail, you know that I did change the thumbnail to represent a little bit about changes. But big up, Box. Yes, Danny. How you doing, my friend? How you doing on a Friday? You work today, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, literally verbatim what I have in my notes, Danny, is that we definitely dodged the bullet with Tadibo. It literally says it right here. Defo dodged the bullet with Tadibo. Because I saw like West Ham went up like 1-0 from Paquetá, and then I looked again and it was like 3-1 Chelsea, and I was like, and I watched the highlight of the third goal. I think it was Enzo, and I don't know what Tadibo is doing. He just completely just loses track of Enzo, and Enzo just literally just strolls right in behind. Tadibo doesn't even keep up with his line. He's just stopped. I don't know what he's doing. But it was awful. So let's start off. So the under-21s played Norwich this morning, and we beat them 4-2, which awesome. Under-21s are off to a flying start. You'd be forgiven for not knowing that there was a game, at least, because it wasn't available to watch anywhere. It wasn't even on MUTV, which is super, super bummer. I was really looking forward to watching that, and then it wasn't on MUTV. Not on YouTube, not on nothing. But really annoying that it wasn't. I just don't know what the point of people paying for MUTV is. Anything else you can find on there, you can find on YouTube. So I only get it because I want to watch the Academy, and when you don't stream the Academy, I turn into an angry panda. So Goals though from Cheeto, from Armour, from Ennis, and from Fletcher. So a lot of goals going all around. Harry Amos started while during all this loan talk. Kamason started at right back. So big up the under 21s. The under 18s do play Middlesbrough tomorrow morning early. It's like 7 a.m. kickoff for me. So if anyone wants to watch that, I don't know if it's on MUTV though. So who knows at this point? Like, what are we paying for? In any case, if anyone also, I know some people are probably watching this Chelsea match, but last time I checked, Bristol were up 1-0. I forget who they're playing, but obviously Radek Vitek is there on loan. So if anybody is watching the Bristol City match, keep us updated on how Vitek looks. But so far, it's, clean sheet so far. So knock on wood. But yeah, definitely dodged the bullet with Todibo because West Ham, last time I checked, are down 3-1. Not a good look. Just completely left his runner. I heard that Wan-Bissaka is not having a great match either. So Danny thinks West Ham are going to get relegated. Didn't they barely make it either this year or the last year or something? Didn't they just barely? I can't remember. There was a year where they were almost going to get relegated. Time to bring Big Sam in, man. I feel bad for Graham Potter. I feel like he should have just did his thing, not come in, and then he could have gone to like Brentford or something. He might have even been able to go to Tottenham. I thought for sure he was going to go to Spurs, but it is what it is. But yeah, I worry for what, and we'll get that on that point though, Danny. Dylan and I are going to be doing so in lieu of the normal kickabout on September 3rd, which is a Wednesday. You guys know we do the Wednesday kickabout. In lieu of the normal kickabout, that's when Dylan and I are going to be doing the season predictions and the transfer window rating video as well. So we'll talk about, what the top 6 places might look like. We'll talk about who we think is going to get relegated. We'll get in your predictions for what the best starting 11 is going to be after we make all our signings, who you think top scorer is going to be, who the next academy star is going to be, breaking into the first team. We'll talk all of that in that video, so prep for that. But big up, everybody. Teresa, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well, Teresa. Good to see you again. Welcome back. Danny says, maybe we could loan Amos or Scanlon or Ennis to Antwerp. Yeah, I mean, we've got the tools to do it, Danny. Like I said, we could have done something like that with Collier for Hayden Hackney. I think Collier would have been a good fit at Middlesbrough as well. But yeah, we've got options there. And that Belgian league, the Bundesliga, even the Eredivisie, those are really good leagues for young. You see a lot of Americans go into those leagues as well, getting minutes, because you're going to get minutes. And at that age, it's the most important. It's not about winning. It's about getting minutes. It's like coaching like 5 or 4-year-olds. It's not about like, are they going to score goals? Are they even going to dribble? It's just about getting time on the ball. Americans don't get a lot of time on a ball by a certain age compared to other countries in the world. And that's why we're a little behind in that regard. Football is not really seen as a big thing here. It's kind of seen here in America. Football is like a rich person sport, whereas in other countries, it's just life, basically. Here, it's just rich people play it, basically. It's pay to play here is the name we use. Danny thinks Potter's overrated. Potter, he's actually super funny. I was really bummed that I didn't pay to go to the first PFA class, because it was like an all-day thing in London at their building for the class. But he actually came and spoke for like an hour and a half at the end, just about like coaching, building a culture in a club and stuff. And he's super, super funny guy. I was really bummed I missed out on that one. That would have been cool. I would have had a lot of questions for him. Danny says his teams always struggle to score. Yeah, he struggling a bit, isn't he? It's unfortunate, but I mean, that's the life. They know what they're getting into. Big up, Lyle. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well, man. So yeah, so under 18s tomorrow, under 21s won today, and Todibo is shit. Basically, it was the sum up of that one. But why don't we get to why everyone's here, why we all want to talk about. So let's talk about Senny Lammens, right? Because up until today, it had gone a little quiet regarding goalkeepers and transfer news. Donnarumma stuff, which I never really believed. I always thought that was a little bit of agent talk and whatnot. Plus, I just don't rate Donnarumma. He's not bad. He's better than Onana, I'll give him that, but the bar is low as far as that goes. But Fabrizio Romano gave us an update this morning, specifically regarding Sen Lammens. No big deal, right? Just personal terms agreed. It says Manchester United are in talks to sign Sen Lammens as goalkeeper. He has agreed to join United, is in talks with Antwerp are now underway. £17 million package being discussed. Nothing agreed, but deal on as Lammens is seen as a talented keeper. So personal terms, you want to come to United, and if you notice a pattern that we've been doing this summer, get the personal terms agreed, get the player to do it. And once we get that locked in, pressure's off. We don't have to worry about bidding wars. We don't have to worry about, going back and forth with clubs for. I mean, obviously we dealt with Mbumo for a little while, but it's like I feel like, and I think I saw Goldbridge say this earlier. Like when the player says yes, it's like it's gonna happen. So we'll see how this goes. But just get him in today. Like get him in today. I don't know what the cutoff is for a player to start, but get him in, get him registered with the club, and let's start him on Sunday. As far as I'm concerned, Laurie Whitwell claims that Lammens could be competition for Andre Onana, who is expected to stay beyond the transfer window. Dude, just Onana, literally steal a page from Hoyland's book and just read the room. Like no, we're looking at keepers. Amorim is not committing to anything. He was asked about it in the presser. He wasn't committing to Onana and stuff, even though he said Onana's been fit. Just tell him to fuck off. Binder knows his place. He's a backup. It is what it is. If he wants to go play someplace else, he can. We can promote a youngster, and Heaton can be our number 2. And £17 million package, and that's not even like price. That's package. That's too good of an opportunity to pass up, in my opinion. You guys, what are you guys thinking about that one here? Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat here. 18, they kick off at 7 a.m. my time, Danny. I don't know. Oh, it is on MUTV. I did see it is on MUTV. So yeah, 7 a.m. my time. So that's noon in the UK. So I don't know where everybody is, but yeah, it's on MUTV if anybody gets that. So check it out. You might be able to find it on YouTube someplace if you find someone who's kind of doing it on the down low, but I will be, of course, watching that as well. So did a lot of cleaning and a lot of work today, so I could just chill a little bit tomorrow. So we're doing that. So Danny says if he's not in for Grimsby, it's poor from the board. If I don't know what the cutoff is for getting players in when they need to be registered in order to play them following. I thought it was like 48 hours or something, but if we can get it done today and just get it done, we can do something. Bexy says, do you think they will have the new keeper as a number 1? I mean, supposedly he's going to be competition for Onana, according to Laurie Whitwell, simply on the basis of Onana doesn't look like he's leaving anytime soon. So I think Whitwell is basically just saying, like, suffice it to say, like, it makes sense. It stands to reason, basically, that if Onana stays, that they'll compete. Lammens is better than Onana. I think that give him some time to bed in, of course, like every player. But I think that because it is a big jump. Like Lammens' numbers in this last season were like among the best in Europe for several metrics, which I love. And I think if you just watch him play, you'll see like there's a bit of old school keeper about him. He's not afraid to throw his weight around in the box. He's not afraid to come off his line. I like that in a keeper. Like you don't have to sit in your line. You don't have to be passive. You don't have to let the game come to you all the time. I like keepers who I like to play like that. Like when I played keeper in indoor for a hot second because I hurt my foot. Like I'm talking the whole time. I'm not afraid to come off the line. I'm looking ahead more than anything. I'm not really looking at anybody. I'm reading the game as well. And you see a lot of that in Lammens. He saves with his feet, which we remember from David De Gea. So, and like I said, £17 million package, not just transfer fee package total. So whatever the bonuses or add-ons, that's too good of an opportunity to pass up. But I don't think it would take long for us to say, Onana, move down the bench, pal. Because we don't have any. Does anybody wear the number 1 shirt? I don't think anybody wears the number 1 shirt. So let's do that. And like Danny said, there is the AFCON to think about. Now, this is all depending on if Onana goes to the AFCON, because he could have retired again from Cameroonian duty for all I know. Who knows? He pulled a Brett Favre. For those of you who don't familiar with NFL, Brett Favre is a quarterback who retired and then came out of retirement. Or a Scholesy, if that makes you feel any better. Lau says, for the weekend games, I think the deadline is Friday. Oh, boo. Hence why Eze will most likely play for Arsenal this weekend. Eze, that kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? And I don't think if Kai Havertz had picked up a little injury, that would have happened. But fair play to Arsenal, man. You need something. You have a need. You go ahead and you tackle it, and you say, "F it, we'll figure it out later." But have Arsenal sold anybody this summer? I'm trying to think if they sold. I don't think they. Somebody remind me if Arsenal have sold any players this summer because I can't remember. But hey, trust the process, right? It's a lot of money to spend on second place, and no trophies. So, but yeah, good keeper. You guys vote. Most of you voted in that poll the other day that if we only got the sign one more player this summer. You guys chose it would be a keeper over a center midfielder, but this is probably one of the best options we could have got with keeper. Just get that midfielder, and this summer could easily go to like an 11 to 12 out of 10 for me. um, Speaking of midfielders, though, it doesn't really look like we're going to be signing Carlos Baleba this week, and I think we can all agree that that's not happening. I mean, it was going to be a long shot, right? He's going to be expensive, but we have got fresh links to another midfielder, though, that we haven't been linked to in a little while. Now this is coming from Ben Jacobs, and I've seen it popping up around from different sources. The problem is people are just citing the other sources. They're basically just like citing each other at this point, which kind of gets a little convoluted. But fresh links to Stuttgart midfielder Angelo Stiller. You guys remember I did a little bit of scouting report on him in my stream a while back on players who aren't in Europe. Now, again, that stream went out before the DFB Pokal, which Stuttgart won, so technically they are in Europe, but it stands to remain that he's still there. So this is what the report was. Stiller, one of the midfielders on United's list of options. No guarantee anything develops or that any midfielder arrives, but internal discussions are taking place over different targets. So basically, he's another name on the list, like Baleba, like Lucien Agume, like Hackney was. There are a lot of names on the list, and I think that if Stiller is not on your list, then you need to fire your scouts, because this guy is an excellent playmaker. From a playmaking standpoint, the guy is superb. His numbers are excellent. Problem is, from a physical, off-the-ball defensive standpoint, wouldn't really make an ideal partner for Bruno. Stiller is the guy you get to replace Bruno if Bruno were to go for like to the Saudi League or something, maybe in like January even. This is the guy you get to do what Bruno is meant to be doing in that deeper role. We still need someone like an Ugarte with that physicality next to him, someone who's got a bit of bite, a bit of speed, a bit of like, again, I'm going to win this ball, but I can also progress it if I need to. We need someone like that, a good foil. Now, Indy Kayla adds that Stiller's agent was actually in London this week and actually met with Man United representatives. And so Indy Kayla, again, I know everyone's kind of either or with that source. They've been kind of blowing up this summer, getting a little bit of endorsements from guys like Ornstein and whatnot. But again, as far as the Indy Kayla report goes, it's according to sources. And so you guys know how I feel about according to sources. So take it with a grain of salt, personally. What are y'all saying about this stuff here? Lyles is Bayern Leipzig. Yeah, I had a note about that too, because I'm still also pushing a little bit for Nicholas Seewald as well, who plays for Leipzig. Now, they are currently being crushed by Bayern, but last time I looked, Seewald was having a decent game from at least from an individual numbers standpoint. He was winning his duels, he was making tackles, his long balls were accurate, his pass accuracy was up there. So individually, he was like the best of a bad bunch almost. But I told you guys last year, Leipzig are struggling. They're just struggling. And you're kind of seeing the same thing you saw from like Southampton and even Brighton sometimes to an extent. Like, you can't just be like this, almost like this development farm selling club, this pipeline for so long. You can't just do that and expect it to challenge. Now, like, it's been a minute, obviously, since Nagelsmann was there, but Nagelsmann and guys like Ragnick and whatnot, they really, really, really built that club into what it is. Ragnick alone could just be, you could just call it like Ralph Leipzig, man. It's ridiculous. Danny says a Stiller Baleba pivot would be fire. That would probably be the ideal, right? That would be an excellent midfield, in my opinion. I'd like, again, Stiller from a playmaking standpoint, ball progression standpoint, like perfect. He lacks a little bit of that physicality and that defensive edge that I think you're going to need. Now, he can work with a partner, but again, he's not going to come in and bench Bruno unless Amorim's super ruthless, and you can't have Bruno and Stiller playing together because then we're a little exposed. And so it's a problem to figure out. We need to find a solution. Brexy says Stiller looks tidy. He's very press resistant as well. If you guys ever watch him, he's just calm on the ball. A lot of simple just pauses, a lot of simple just kind of roll over. Just you can even when he's getting double marked, he's not even looking at his defender. He never looks like nervous. He's just looking around like, okay, what are my options? And he just, when he needs a little time he just drags the ball back a little bit, and then it's just a drop of the shoulder, and he's either off or he's just passing the ball elsewhere. Like, it's very good, very comfortable on the ball. So I like that. Bexy wants to know, do we think we'll get a midfielder? Um, I think it's going to depend on if we sell any players. We've got like 4 players that we still need to get rid of, and I think they're all going to go until basically almost deadline day. So if we get a midfielder, I don't think it's going to be Baleba. You're pushing it at this point. You're going to have to pay over the odds. Again, look at someone like Seawald, who could be a good shrewd option. Leipzig look like they're struggling already. Maybe there's someone at West Ham you can go get. Maybe go get Paquetá. I like Paquetá personally, but I liked him back when he was at Leverkusen, when he was at Milan. Like, he's a good player, but we'll see. There are options, so you never know. Uh, yeah, Dan, that's what I was gonna say. He is a bit like Modric in that regard. Like, he just never looks like he even cares about the opposition players trying to like pressure him. He doesn't even look at him. He's just like, I don't, just go away. I'm trying to concentrate right now. It's like he doesn't even care. It's like he's playing against children sometimes, the same way Modric does. It's interesting. But when you look like you've got time in the ball, when you look like you're that calm, like, you're a good player. So Lyle thinks Chelsea will be in for Baleba next season. I mean, they've got Enzo, they've got Caicedo, they've got Romeo Lavia as well. They don't want to get rid of some other players either. Like, where are Chelsea going to put all these players? And if Baleba chooses to go to Chelsea when they've got all those players there, then he's an idiot, because he's not going to play. He's just not going to play. So if Chelsea want to spend over 300 million on 3 midfielders to rotate, hey, more power to you. Go sell another hotel. But I just don't see it happening. But yeah. I'm gonna look at Seawald's numbers again real quick. Guys, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're gonna be doing the match preview here in a second. We're just going through transfer rumors at the moment. Vitek having a good game. Hasn't really had to make any saves at all, so that's good. They're still up 1-0 Bristol. Let me look at Seawald's numbers. What are we doing here? Kane hat trick, Olise, Luis Diaz. So the Premier League really representing it, Bayern right now. Even Gnabry's getting involved. Jeez. Yeah, Seawald is literally the highest rated player at Leipzig right now on the day. Yeah, go get Seawald, dude. He's so good. 100% dribble rate, long balls. He was at 2 out of 2 for long balls. They dropped now, and the tackles dropped. But his ground duels, he's winning all the ground duels as well. Got an interception in there as well. Go get Seawald, man. Let me, dude. Danny says my stream is a no, I don't know. It's always the danger. This is why, like, it's amateur hour when people use like FootMob or OneFootball or something, and they have the alerts on. Like, that's amateur hour. Turn those alerts off, guys. If you're like chilling at work or something, and you're recording a match and you want to watch it later, turn. I tell Justin's always looking at his smartwatch because it's always going off, and he's like, his smartwatch is like ahead of some of the streams, and I'm like, turn it off, bro, because you're ruining it. Are you kidding me right now? West Ham 5-5. Are you just making it up, Bucks? Hold on. You guys are. This is Fridays are all about. We don't care about. You're killing Box. Don't lie. You had me. Box got me. Everyone. Yeah, literally. West Ham have done nothing since Paquetá scored, like, in the 6th. It's been literally all Chelsea since. That's insane, dude. That's insane. Jeez, Box. I see you now, Box. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about some rumors. Get your thoughts in on Stiller. Do you think, answer Bexy's question, do you think we'll sign a midfielder? Do you think we'll sign Lammens? Get involved. Don't forget to get involved in the poll too while we talk and get prepped for the actual match preview. I asked you guys to let me know who's going to win. So, Stephen Torpe. So, you remember a few weeks ago, we discussed this. This guy, he's Brentford's academy director, literally spoke about it a couple weeks ago when it was first kind of starting to be rumored. So we did a little bit of a deep dive on him. Go check out that video if you want to as well. But he is officially going to take over as United's academy director, taking over for Nick Cox, who will be leaving. The club announced it. He's already done his interviews and everything. And so he's our new academy director for all intents and purposes. So we talked about that a little bit. Had a lot of work to do at Brentford and whatnot. I like what I see from the guy. We talked about that a little bit. We got all these rumors, too, that we might be pushing towards a more individually focused academy situation, working on systems and development that focus on individual development and not trying to simply just emulate formation and tactics that, the first team is doing, which I don't have a problem with. So we'll see how it goes. Fletcher's out there taking charge of matches and whatnot. Phil Jones was helping coach a little bit last year while he's doing his coaching badges as well. So a lot of players in and around there. We know Wilcox, Vavell, Amorim, they do kick around the academy as well and watch things. So see how it goes. But yeah, new academy director. If you want to learn a little bit more, go check out that video about his background, his philosophy, and whatnot. I talked about a lot of it in there as well. So moving on. Got a new doc on the block, and no, not Amazon documentary. So we might have a new club doctor, Dr. Imtiaz Ahmad, head of sports medicine, currently at Crystal Palace, is set to join Manchester United to succeed the departing Gary O'Driscoll. Saw that announced a little earlier today. So he was only at Palace for about 18 months, and before that, Ahmad was he's a club doctor, and then also head of medicine at QPR for 10 years. So basically just working with football clubs, top-level athletes, head of the departments. He's also serving as chairman on Football Association, medical societies. He's on the panel for the Pakistan Cricket Board as well. So guy is just all sports, all medicine with sports. He's done it. He's done a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of speaking as well when it comes to communication in elite sport between different levels at clubs and whatnot, what that looks like in terms of a culture, as well as the decision-making hierarchy and collaboration processes when it comes to coaching elite level footballers. So he's also heavily involved in that as well. If he can keep Shaw and Mount fit for more than a few weeks, I mean, he's already 100 times better than the other people we have. But so that a little bit of a closer look at this new head, the club doctor we've got coming in to replace the guy. I think we got O'Driscoll from Arsenal too, so maybe he's a little bit of an agent going on. So Lyle says, bye-bye, O'Driscoll will not be missed. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to blame doctors for injuries in a sport setting too, because you can plan, you can do anything, but at the end of the day, a bad tackle is a bad tackle or something. It's just, it happens. I mean, my ligament tear I wasn't even like, there was no running. I was just walking backwards and stepped wrong on a giant crack in the pavement that was like an inch, just like an inch off, and my foot just like stuff like that just happens. I wish there was a better story. I wish I like karate kicked a grizzly bear, but no, I did not. I literally just stepped on a crack and twisted my ankle. To be fair, it was a big ass crack. So I wish you could have heard my ankle. It sounded like somebody was crumpling up a Pop-Tart wrapper or something when it happened. Just heard like crunch. So that was awesome. That was a great day. Too bad it couldn't happen like after I played, but it is what it is. Danny said Fab said he didn't hear they were fully in. Yeah, I thought Inter were linked to Lammens as well, but I don't know if there's anything there. I wouldn't be surprised to see them get Donnarumma, to be honest. That seems like just a fit to me, but it is what it is. They just call them Dr. Death. Oh, you guys are funny. Yeah, no, we don't pull punches around here, especially on a Friday. How's everyone's Friday going? What are you guys getting up to this weekend besides this United match? My wife's actually going out of town tomorrow. She's going to California, so it's just me and the dogs for like the next 5 days. So awesome. You guys know that I always struggle to get good sleep when she's out of town, so we'll see how that goes. But let me know what you guys are getting up to. And make sure you like and subscribe before you do. All right. Other news. So a lot of people have been chatting about this apparently this revelation that I think Mike Keegan put it out there that United is technically now back on the market, which means the Glazers can now sell the club again. If you guys have been watching and reading, this was because of a clause in the ownership agreement. Remember, we discussed this like 5 months ago on the channel. Remember that video I did, Can the Glazers be forced out of United? That video, we discussed it there, and that was from a long time ago. But basically, this clause stipulates that if Ineos, Sir Jim, hadn't completed like the full purchase of the club, like by 18 months in or something, that the Glazers could listen to offers for the club, and they could accept those offers. And now Sir Jim has the opportunity to match those offers, but he can't do anything about them stopping it. So on mid-August, this called a drag-along clause, and basically, if they want to sell the Glazers, then Sir Jim can't do anything about it. Not only that, But if the Glazers choose to exercise this option, Sir Jim and Ineos have to sell back their shares in the club. It's interesting. I get all the perspectives involved. Why would you want to become majority shareholder, full owner when there's all this debt without a way to figure out how to at least get the Glazers to take care of part of it? I get it, but at the same time, I've said it many times, Jimmy. You knew what you were getting into. You had a full run of the books. If you were ignorant on what was going on, at least from a public standpoint, then you shouldn't have been interested at all. I don't blame people. Like, there are all these people who are getting mad. Like, if you don't have the money, why'd you do? No one's got the money. No one had the money to buy the full club. The Glazers value it way too highly. No one's got that kind of money. So you try to figure it out. But again, no one with that kind of money is going to come in and willing to just take on all that debt either without at least some sort of a plan. So we'll see. The reason that he's there is because his fee was higher than what any other offers were. And so he may have only paid it a little bit at a time, but overall it was going to be higher. So that's why they favored his offer, which of course the fucking greedy bastards. So, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's nothing new if you've been watching the channel, because we spoke about this almost half a year ago. But it is a good little reminder of what's going on. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. See what you guys are saying. You guys are having a little chit chat. No worries. So get your thoughts on that. I wonder what could happen. Could we see Ineos kind of in and out like a revolving door, like that Grandpa Simpson gif? Just right in and right out. That would be kind of funny to put in all this money for help, like fund the like 300 million or so, the whole Carrington revamp, all this transfer stuff as well, and then turn around and then just be told like, sorry, thanks for the training ground, Jimmy, but we got another offer. I don't know who else could come in. Like, literally no one else was stepping up, really. I mean, we did the video, that what if video, season 2 finale on, how things might have gone different. Maybe the Red Knights could come back and get something put together. The problem with the Red Knights is they just didn't have the money at the time. So we'll see. They're probably not interested anymore anyway. So, but interesting stuff. I don't know if this means, I think that they're going to sell. I think Sir Jim in one of the interviews said like he's not worried about it. He thinks that they have a good enough relationship where it's not going to be a thing. But again, get it in writing. Now, he is the single, so of all the individuals involved, he has the most shares. But the problem is the Glazers, each, there's 6 of them, have a percentage, and that percentage that each of them has totals up to way more. So he would have to start like convincing and flipping each individual sibling, who's maybe there's like 3 or 4 siblings who weren't really interested in keeping the club, and only 2, like Joel and Avram, really wanted it. So maybe if Sir Jim can convince some of the other siblings to sell their shares to him, he could slowly do that. But it all depends on how you feel about Ineos so far. I'd say this summer they've been knocking it out of the park, but we'll see. And the summer's not even over yet, so who knows? So good little reminder. We got some Sancho news. If you guys have seen some of this popping up recently as well, fresh off of the Kickabout show's roast of Jadon Sancho. If you guys stop by and check out the Kickabout, you can go check that out if you want. We talked a little bit about rumors, but we spent a lot of time talking about player power, players forcing moves and whatnot. So it was a really good conversation. I'm glad you guys got involved with that too. Always good to have Dylan get his thoughts. So go check that out. But we kind of went off on a little tangent roasting Sancho. But so we got all those reports that Roma's offer was turned down, even though United accepted. I've seen reports too that United have agreed to the price. Sancho's wages weren't really actually going to be a problem, but apparently it was this agent commission, this £10 million bonus that was holding things up. I don't know what agent thinks they're entitled to that much money. That's ridiculous. I refer once again to Dylan's text that he sent me the other day. If you guys know, if you know, you know. But in any case, the rumors were that Sancho was waiting for other clubs, and perhaps he has found one. So this is coming from Florian Plettenberg, that apparently Bayern Munich are now considering signing Jadon Sancho on loan. I don't know if they think they need him anymore after what they're doing today, but you've still got guys like Gnabry and stuff kicking around. Might be time to freshen things up. I'm trying to make Sancho sound better, so in the off chance somebody from Bayern is watching this, Vincent Kompany, if you're watching it, take Sancho, buddy. He's great, I promise. He loves the Bundesliga. Now, I said the other day that if Bayern made that offer for Garnacho, which Garnacho turned down, I thought that Sancho would be a good fit. He knows the league. He plays in a position that apparently they're looking for if they made offers for Sancho. Maybe Bayern are not happy with his attitude. Maybe it's because he played for Dortmund. Not that that's been a problem for them in the past, right? They go kind of prima nocta all over all the German talent in that league anyway, so don't really know. But again, Sancho knows the league. He actually does well when he's in the Bundesliga, so it just makes too much sense. That said, though, straight sale or a loan with an obligation, or you can fuck off because I just want this idiot stick out of my club. Don't care how it happens. Don't care how much you offer. Give me a bag of the sweet Thai chicken McCoys and I don't know what do you call it, the one of the little biscuits that they like over there, like the orange chocolate things. What are those guys called? The Jaffa cakes. That's the one. Give me one of them and a pack of McCoy's Chris, and you can have Sancho. We're good there. I don't really care. And a Tesco full English. Take me out to breakfast. We'll be good to go. Proper bell end, says Danny. I don't know if you're talking about Jimmy or if you're talking about Sancho, but but we'll see though. On wingers though, did you see Tyler Dibling is got a here we go going to Everton for 42 million? 42 million gets you Tyler Dibling, man. This is why Chelsea can take their Garnacho offer and shove it up their ass. If 42 million for Tyler Dibling is the measuring stick, then realistically, like all things being like, let's pretend that Garnacho did let's just pretend he didn't throw a fit. If 42 million is what Tyler Dibling's going for, is 55 million gets you Gittins or Elanga, how much is Garnacho going for? Like honestly, like come on. This like Chelsea they're taking the piss. They've been taking the piss since day one on this one. It's absolutely ridiculous. Lyle says get him out. Yeah, get him gone. Get him out of the club. Bayern could actually be a good fit for him. I really think he could do well there. So did Sane leave or is Sane still there? I can't remember if Sane left or not. I want to say Sane went to did he go to Turkey or something? I can't remember now off the top of my head. Danny says ridiculous if that's the case. Garnacho is 60. Yeah. If we're just going by what even if you just go by what Chelsea have paid, Garnacho 30 million. What are you doing? What are you doing? Lyle says 50 million minute from Garnacho. Just give us that Mudryk money. You guys paid upwards. You paid 60 some odd million for Mudryk, and then there was another 30 million of bonus or add-ons in there. That was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life, personally. With a sell-on clause. Yeah, that's what I mentioned in the kick about. I would take 40, 45 if we throw in a 25, 30% sell-on clause and call it a day. Just be done with it. Let them go, wash our hands, and just wave at him. Say bye. Bye, Goo Goo Dolls. If you know, you know. Tell me he doesn't look like the lead singer of Goo Goo Dolls. Go right now. You're going to go Google it, and then you're going to come back and tell me. So Lyle says Chelsea are lowballing us so they can offload and flip Garnacho for a profit in a couple summers. Yeah, and we know that, and that's why we wanted the sell-on clause, because if that's what their plan is, then we're going to get some of that cheddar cheese, man. They just want to buy him cheap, sell him in a year. That's what Chelsea's model is. We talked about that on the Kickabout the other day. Chelsea just seem like they're just buying the young talent they can find, and then they're just selling it for a profit. And I don't get it. I don't get how they can do that when they're giving all these players 8-year contracts. It makes zero sense. But hey, it is what it is. Eventually, they're going to run out of hotels. They're going to run out of women's teams to sell themselves. Eventually, they've already had to pay money, and so they've gotten in trouble already. They've been in trouble in the past for the crazy loans. Remember they had 24 players out on loan? Then they got that transfer ban. That was insane. So this is what I mean. Rich owners don't necessarily just mean they're going to be good owners. That's just let's just face facts. And so Danny wants to let him rot in the 21s. I mean, we don't want him to infect anybody down there. So I have no problem with them just being told, hey, you're not part of the plans. Go do what you got to do. You have our blessing, but you know what? Don't come back. So Lyle says, Johnny Resnick. Right? I told you. I forgot his name. I knew it was John something. I couldn't remember the last name. He looks just like him. He literally looks just like him. So I'm glad somebody else sees it, because now that I couldn't unsee it when I first saw it, and now you've joined the club. Got to drink. Well, I mowed the lawn today. My allergies are bad, so my throat's super, super dry. Lyle says, and CISO transfer is going to pop the bubble for Chelsea. How the hell does Blueco? Yeah, we talked about that the other day too, because now it's not even like Chelsea, it's Blueco. This is where you start getting into weird things like image rights and third parties and this and that. Like it's too convoluted, and really at the end of the day, all it is a way to circumvent PSR, circumvent any sort of like rules or any restrictions. They've got dirt on Brighton. They've got Brighton nudes. They've got seagull nudes. So yeah, but if that's the measuring stick, then Garnacho. I mean, literally, you don't even have to do anything. You just point to what they paid for other players, Chelsea, and just say, "Well, we're here. He's here. Just bring us a suitable offer." Same with Real Betis. Like, it's embarrassing, man. So, all right, I'm gonna take this bell end off my screen because I don't want him anywhere here anymore. So, get your thoughts in. We're gonna be talking about the Fulham match. We're gonna do that preview now. So make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. 100%, 8 votes, 100% of you think it's going to be a United win. I like your positivity. So, sorry, that water went down the wrong pipe. So we actually did the league double over Fulham last season. Problem is, they knocked us out of the FA Cup after it was drawn 1-1 going into full time, and then it went to pens. It is what it is. Them being a 6-pointer for us last year obviously didn't really mean much because they finished 11th and they had 12 more points than we did last year. Wait, somebody finished above us last year? I know, right? Couldn't believe it. Had to double check. Sure enough, that's what happened. But last year, Fulham also managed to bloody a few noses in the Big Six along the way. They took points off Liverpool, took points off Spurs, and Chelsea. I think they actually beat Liverpool and drew them as well. So they weren't afraid to show up for the difficult opponents. Problem is they're Fulham at the end of the day. No offense. They'll be good. They're trying to raise their level this season. I imagine they're going to try to progress from being, perennial mid-table finishers. And of course, United, Ruben Amorim, we are up against it after last year's finish. So everybody's got a little bit of a goal in mind of getting out of this. Hold on. Teresa's got a question here. Question, Sean. Aren't player contracts supposed to protect the club against crap? In my opinion, lawyers should be replaced. Problem solved. Yeah, the problem is contracts aren't really worth what the paper they're printed on. It's obligation clauses apparently don't mean obligations. Contracts, and that's the thing you're looking at. It's not solely just the player's value. You're technically buying the contract when you buy a player. You're buying like the contract. So how much is on it and stuff, all that you're buying. That's why financially you can actually make money. If we spend 60 million on Højlund, and for the first 2 years we pay like 30 million, and someone comes in and offers like 40 million, we're making money at that point. So it's interesting how it works. It's not just about the math. It's about how PSR looks at those sort of things. So they spent 500 liters, box. What did they buy? Whew. I can't remember who they bought this summer. I want to say, did they buy Berga last year? Or was that this year? I don't remember now off the top of my head. But they are sitting in 9th right now after they got a 1-1 draw against Brighton last week. I mean, there's not really a point talking table position at this point. It's been one match. So Fulham, though, in that match weren't anything to write home about. They weren't spectacular, and they left that equalizer very, very late. Literally 96 minute late is when they got that equalizer. They looked cert to drop points that day. Well, they did technically, but that was, I mean, even in that match, they only had 2 shots on target. They had a very poor pass completion on the night. I think it was like low 80s. Fulham pretty much set up to counterattack, quick transitions, exploit space behind the opposition when they do win back possession, which you're going to see from a lot of teams, similar to Wolves, similar to Forest. It's how a lot of these mid-table sides are playing. We need to win that midfield battle, but not in the way that you think I mean, and we'll talk more about that later on. They also have a habit, Fulham, of making themselves very difficult to break down in defense. They're very good, make themselves compact, which means I'd like to see a little bit more movement in that final phase of attack, in and around the box, similar to like what you see from Arsenal. There's a lot of movement going on. I'd like to see more from that from us. And it can't just be a direct ball to Cunha and then someone just sprints up. We need to work possession forward we need to get some players involved in that box. This is where someone like Cherky would have been perfect for us, but maybe we have a Cherky alternative. More on that later as well when I get to our team. What are y'all saying out here? Bach says yes, and that was on 34. Lecomte, that's right. Danny says just an old keeper is all they sign. Yeah, they haven't signed a whole lot, have they? Fulham must have PSR worries. They've got a couple of names. So they got Smith Rowe last year, right? They've got a Wilby, so they're basically shopping in Arsenal's bargain bin. Jimenez, obviously they got Sasha Lucius. They got, I want to say they got him from Salzburg. Can't remember now off the top of my head. And then they picked up, who's that center back? I think they got from Palace. Someone remind me of his name. I can't remember now off the top of my head. So they've got players. So they have bought some players. They haven't really done much recently. So in terms of who we can expect to see, so Ryan Sessegnon and Anthony Robinson, they both missed last week. They had injuries. Robinson in particular, you could tell, was a big miss for them. He's usually their go-to outlet. They do like to get the ball wide typically and kind of put a lot of crosses in the box. Without those players available, though, they had to change up a little bit. So really, it was their subs who made the difference. The subs came on, much better performance than the starters. We'll see if that means guys like Munez, who scored the equalizer, Smith Rowe, or Kearney, if they get a start or not. We'll see what happens. But if it were me, you definitely start the guys who came on and made a difference, because I think that Munez, to me, is looking really good. Anderson, that's who it was. Joachim Anderson. Yep. I remember. Box says, Derby, 88th minute equalizer. Oh, poo. Probably no man of the match for VTech today, but he was doing well until that point, even though he didn't really have to make a save. This is what's hard about being a goalkeeper, though. You can literally have nothing to do for 90 minutes, and then, like, all of a sudden, you've got everything coming at you, and you have to just stay switched on. It looks like you're not doing much, but you have to constantly, that state of focus and switched on that your teammates are in the hole. You have to maintain that, even though you're not doing anything. So it's difficult. I don't envy it. So as far as United go, Amorim spoke today in his presser. He claims that Onana is fit, just as he was last week, but it doesn't sound like he's a guaranteed starter. Do you think Amorim is maybe sending a message to not only Onana, but everybody on the team right now that you're not guaranteed a starting spot right now? And it's not, maybe, I think a lot of people think that when a player is dropped, it's because the manager doesn't like them or something. Like, people are going on and on about Kobe. That's not necessarily the case. Sometimes when you're training well, when you're performing well in training, that's how the players pick the team. You guys have heard that before. So Binder is looking better than Onana. Then he's going to start. If somebody's maybe, or sometimes it's the opposition. If somebody was looking a little better, or if Amorim thought this player's qualities were better against Arsenal, that's how he's going to do it. It's not as black or white as this player didn't get any minutes, so Amorim must not rate them. That's not necessarily the way it works. But it also seems like Amorim is getting a little annoyed with all these questions about transfers. I don't know why journalists feel like they're going to get any answers when they ask about transfers in the manager's presser. The manager doesn't have anything to do with it. And why would we talk about it? Pressers are stupid. They're just dumb, dude. Nobody asks any sort of tactical questions. Nobody asks really important questions. Everyone just wants to know, are you getting a player in? Are you, deadline day is coming up, what are you going to do? I mean, he was asked about incomings, outgoings as deadline day was coming up. And he was quick to basically tell whoever asked at the Journal, he was like, you have to ask Wilcox. That's his department. My job is to manage and prepare the squad, not to handle transfers. He said we have a whole department who handles that. So that's why this is one of the reasons why I never want to be a manager. I would just stare daggers at people, or I would just tell them they're stupid, and that was a stupid question, and so are they for asking it, and then I would tell them to leave. So, but that's probably why I told you before, I would just bring a blank check to pressers just so I can get fined, write whatever number I want in there, and get to say whatever I want. Like, it's just ridiculous, dude. Bexy says, I think United will be threat. Ideally, a big win would do our confidence great. Losing to Arsenal last week may still give us last season scares. I think Cunha is a key. I think we could take definite solace from the fact that we were by far the better side against Arsenal. We were undone by a fluky goal. Binder should have done better, but there was a lot of pushing and pulling going on in that corner. That was the only thing that Arsenal did. We were literally better than them in every single metric. Just could not find the back of the net, unfortunately. Yeah, an early goal will help. I always like early goals, man. Lyle says, I hate pressers, so pointless. Yeah, I just I used to wait. You guys know I used to intentionally wait till the press conference to do the preview. Now I just don't care because none of the questions are good anyway. Um, but yeah, they do fish for headlines, and even if they don't get the answer, this is what they do. If a journalist asks, "Oh, if are you signing, Carlos Baleba?" and Amorim just says, we're going to talk about the match. The headline is going to be Amorim refuses to rule out Baleba signing. Like, that's how they're going to twist that. Like, it's so, if people can't see that that's what the journals do now by now, like, I'm trying to help people realize the journals are full of crap. I've said it many times. A lot of money been wasted on journalism degrees in the UK, and this is how they roll, man. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Box, you're not missing much, man. So I tell people when they say like, "Oh, there's nothing on TV, we don't watch TV," and I say, "You're not missing much. There's not really anything good on TV anyway." So I watch the same shit over and over again. Maybe one day we'll do trivia about me and the things I've said about my life to see who's been paying attention. Real quick trivia, if anybody remembers, what's my favorite TV show? Let me know in the chat if you remember. Bonus points. So, I've said it a few times since the final whistle blew last Sunday, but if we maintain the performance level we did against Arsenal, if we play like that week in, week out for this season, if we can maintain that, if these players have it in them to maintain that, and like it's not enough to reach the level, you have to maintain the level. It's like you guys remember playing like Halo when they started doing like ranks and stuff online. Like you get to a new level, but you had to maintain that level because if you don't, you go back to the level below the ranking. You go from like lieutenant back down to like private or something if you don't maintain, basically. But I think if we can do what we did against Arsenal, we will be fine. Problem is, after last season's finish and a lot of the performances and Amorim's kind of win percentage, he and his players have very little time to wait for it all to just click and for everything to get fine. Like, it's cool, I think we'll be fine, but we don't have a lot of time to convince everybody that we're there yet, that there's been some progress. We did look good, but Fulham are exactly the sort of side that they do physically bully us last year. Yes, we did the league double, but they can be physically bullying. We need to start. It's not enough to just outplay performances now that we've got some time on the pitch. We have to start out muscling performances, and we have to start basically like imposing our will on these sides that you should expect us to dominate, i.e. Fulham, no offense. We need legs. We need quick passing in midfield to take advantage of Berga and Lucas's basically their lack of mobility. They're not very mobile midfielders. They're good on the ball, but they're not mobile. Lucas isn't even a 6. He's really a 10 who's been converted to a 6. If we can move the ball, if we can get some legs in there and some speed and get around that, that's what we need to do. And that's what I meant about win the midfield battle, not with physicality, but with just speed. Against Brighton, if you guys watched that match, a lot of Fulham's ball progression came from their defenders, playing balls from deep, find guys like Iwobi and get that ball up the pitch. So we'll need to find the balance there between pressing their defense like heavily, but also being careful not to leave too much space in behind midfield. So midfielders are going to have to be on point. You're going to want these our wing backs to kind of tuck in a little bit and cover that passing lanes now and then. Keep an eye out for that long ball in the channels as well. We don't want it to get to Iwobi because he can cause problems. What are you guys saying? Box says something like, Fraser, you're warm. You're getting warm, and you're kind of in that right area. Now, it's not my favorite, Danny. It is a good show, though. Boondocks. It is the show that Justin and I watch. Bexy says Amorim needs a rocket up his ass. A fair few of these players need to kick up the ass too. Box says Licha likes playing Fulham. We'll see what happens there. Danny wants to know thoughts on trying Maz in the 6 if we don't sign one. Are you Ten Hag in disguise? Maz is a right back who we're already playing as a center back, and I don't know how many different positions we want to try to force this guy into unless you're Ten Hag. Remember when he played him as a 10? Can we just forget about that kind of stuff? Remember when people were trying to say play Wan-Bissaka as a 6 because he can tackle? Like, he can't tackle today. What was the final score of that game, too, by the way? What is going on here? 5-1. It's still going on at 5-1. Fucking hell. 6-0 to Bayern. Jeez. Did Kane get a fourth? No, he didn't get a fourth. That's messed up, dude. That's so messed up. Gosh. So yeah, find the balance between high press, because their defenders do like to progress the ball from deep play areas, but not just watching the channel, which means our wider center backs need to not worry so much about controlling that ball, taking it down, and trying to like find a teammate. Just clear the danger. It's your first job. I don't care if there's opportunities or whatever. Just focus on just getting rid of that ball, killing the play, and then we can regroup and figure it out. Box Licha versus Adama. Yeah, Adama Traore he had everything to probably be an excellent player. Remember when he was at Middlesbrough and he was actually a right back. And then he's been converted into a bit of. Remember when he went to Barcelona for a hot second a few years back? That was messed up. Is he came through Barca's academy too, but it's not enough to just be big and fast. I never worry when Adama Traore is busting a gut and gets it to the byline because like literally 10 out of 10, the final ball is going to be worse than Dallow's. I never ever worry about it. And yeah, Licha absolutely bodied him last season. And I'm here for it. Inject that into my veins. That's why we miss Licha. I can't believe there are people who don't rate Licha. Like he's arguably the best center back we have when he's fit. The problem is I worry about the long-term health prognosis with the results of all those long-term injuries. So Bexy says, Ten Hag used to say we're making progress after losing when the team couldn't compete against more physical teams. Amorim is honest, at least. The fans needed this. Yeah, Amorim, to me, sometimes it's like he is a fan with some of the things he says and some of the decisions he makes. And I don't agree with all the decisions, but like the whole Binder Onana thing, like Onana's fit. He was fit last week. He's not starting. Like he's doing what fans want to do, and he's not doing it because fans are telling him. He's doing it because he's thinking the same way we think about these situations. Now, in terms of like managers saying like we're making progress even though we lose, again, that's one of those things it's one of those throwaway manager comments that really doesn't mean anything. Every manager says that. It's just what you say as a manager. If you were to say anything else, he'd be called a bully. Like he's just giving a political answer, and it just is what it is. I don't worry too much about that kind of stuff. Phil Jones on corners. I wish that copyright law didn't exist because I would absolutely print that photo of Phil Jones taking the corner with his arms up and put it on a t-shirt. I would wear it everywhere. Maguire up top. Only in like the last 5 minutes, Danny, when we're chasing the goal. That's when Maguire turns into Herodona. Box says United post 2013 has had some legendary comedy moments. I'm trying to think of some other funny. Most of them involve Phil Jones, honestly. Although that clearance that he did when we played Arsenal, you guys remember when Giroud was going after that ball and Phil was just literally crawling on the ground and he just heads the ball out. It's comedy gold, but at the same time, like who else in football is capable of doing something like that? Nobody, literally nobody. I'm trying to think. What other funny moments I've seen during an actual game? I can't remember now. So like get your thoughts in there, your comedy moments in the last decade or so for United. So on to team news, starting 11. So Amorim confirms still no Licha, still no Mazraoui. Onana, he's fit. Whether or not he's going to play, it's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see who you guys get your starting 11s in while we're talking about this because I want to know who you guys think. Is Šeško going to start? I put that in the thumbnail. Could Ahmad get the start? I'd love to see Ahmad ahead of Dalot. I think Dallow's got a little bit more defensive mindedness to him in terms of just the overall physicality. And I think that's just because he's a natural right back and Ahmad's not. And so I do think that there are second nature aspects to being a wingback that Ahmad just doesn't quite have yet. Will Mainu get any minutes? Xerxes was on the bench against Arsenal. Is he fit enough to start as well? Did Ugarte kind of not take his chance last week when he had it? I'm not even talking about just that one lashing effort. I'm just talking about overall. There's a lot of questions over what this starting 11 could look like. I want to know what you guys think, though. Bailey's coming. Oh, yeah, Bailey that dude literally had so many injuries, and it's just because he would just go the most crazy acrobatic nonsense to try to do stuff. Yeah, Dan, that's a good one. LVG on the floor. That's a good one. I like that one. What was the match? It always makes me laugh when we played Chelsea under Mourinho, and one of Chelsea's coaches, like, they scored and they like ran by Mourinho. Then he got up and like chased the guy like he was gonna fight him. Mourinho is the guy that if he did that to me, I would just laugh because there's nothing threatening to me about Jose Mourinho. But that one I think of a lot. Sanjay, big up Sanjay. Just came back from the pub. Big up, man. Box would start buying deer. Yoro, Delit, Shaw. Still going with Shaw. Lionhearts is going to love you. Ahmad, Ugarte, Fernandez, Dorgu, Mbemo, Cunha, Shesko. So basically almost our strongest 11 at the moment. Did Casemiro do enough for you guys to maybe be considered for a shout? He was in my predicted 11 who I would choose because I think he just offers more. And he actually had a really good game against Arsenal, Casemiro. He played a couple of sloppy passes, but we just know. You kind of just know that that's what you're going to get from Casemiro. He's just going to get like this random no-look pass that goes straight to an opponent. So you just got to plan for that already. It's going to be interesting, though, because we need to win that midfield battle. No, it's not going to be a slugfest, but it is going to be about exploiting Suchik and Berg with just speed, passing, movement. Fulham can be tricky to break down, like I said, because they do make themselves compact. So again, I'd like to see a little bit more dynamism, a little bit more movement, little dinks over the top, little quick balls, a lot of movement, a lot of overloads in wide areas. I like to see that. I thought Mbeumo and Ahmad looked really good in that regard. When Ahmad came on, I thought he kind of made us a little bit more threatening. He was giving Madueke a heck of a time, if you guys saw that, and I think that's what I like to see more of. I like to see Ahmad's final ball improve. He just holds on to it a little too long sometimes, and when he does finally play it back, he's got too many opposition shirts in front of him. He needs to play a little earlier around space. I'd like to see Shesko start personally because we definitely missed out on not having a 9 on the pitch. And when we got involved into advanced areas against Arsenal, there was nobody there to get on the end of them. I'd like to see, my biggest thing is always going to be quicker build up, or even just a quick long ball over the top or two, like quicker, not hold, and then try to play it to someone's feet. I mean, we get the ball off the corner, we win the ball, we make a successful block or something, we get it to someone like Bruno or something, and then boom, off we're going. No more of this horseshoe nonsense. Like I said, The Athletic put out a stat, and I read it last week. A third of our passes last year were between center backs, just pass back and forth to each other. We got to do better at getting that ball up the pitch. We got to see more ball progression. I want to see some more speed when it comes to building out from the back, because we can't let these teams get back into their shape too easily. We're just doing all sorts of favors for them, and we're hurting ourselves in the process. But let me know what your starting 11 is. Danny's going with Bindier, Ahmad, Yoro, Delit, Heaven, Dorgu, Ugarte, Menu, Bruno, Mbeumo, Cunha. So no Shesko for you yet, huh? But Menu, I like Menu. I think that Menu could definitely help, and that's what I said about someone who's kind of like a little bit of a Chirke. If we can work the ball up a little bit, kind of like what we see Arsenal do, just careful possession, work it up. And I think that Menu has shown that he can be really good with some movement and passing in those tight areas. I think that I'd like to see someone like him do that a little bit more as well. That's who I would like to see up there. Sanjay, Bacardi, Jägermeister, and Glen Rose is your first frat party? Jägermeister. Eat some food too, Sanjay. Bach says, I'd bring on Menu and Mount. I like that. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be the game for Mount to start necessarily. He's got that energy. He's got that fight. Don't know. I think it almost would be a little bit redundant in some cases. Will Shesko start, says Atish. Welcome to the channel, new face. Good to see you guys getting new faces. Good to see the community build. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Check those memberships as well. And go check out the UVE store. Tons of stuff in there right now. Tons of one-of-a-kind designs you're not going to see anywhere else. Go check them out. Will Shesko start? I would start Shesko for sure because, like I said, I do think we missed having a true 9 against Arsenal. We got the ball into really good positions. There were times when Dorgu or Dalla would get the ball to the byline and there'd be nobody in the box because we didn't have any strikers on the pitch. Mount getting really far back to get involved in the build-up with that dynamic front three. It does leave a little space in those big areas. ITN, welcome back. Would you take another so-called good performance or scrap the win? The so-called good performance, it was a good performance against Arsenal, if that's what you're referring to. But I do think that we will get the win. Of course, I always want the win. But like I said a couple minutes ago, if you're just joining, like Amorim is in the squad, they're running out of time now for us just to keep saying, like, we look better. Eventually, like, yeah, we look better. I don't think anyone can argue that, but we also need to start putting points on the table. That's just the way it is. And so this is a good test for us because yes, we beat Fulham twice in the league last year, but they do offer a little bit of threat. Those wins were only 1-0 wins too. So this is what we need to do to show that we need to start out muscling and outplaying these guys in terms from a physical standpoint. But big up ITN, welcome back. Let me know your starting 11 when we get involved. But now I want to know your score predictions as well. So again, last season we beat them 1-0 both times. Our FA Cup tie was 1-1 before going to pen. So we only managed to put one goal in open play against these guys, and 3 times of asking, one goal each time. They haven't really added a ton of firepower, while we have added 3 attackers. I'm anticipating more goals from us if we kind of shake off some of that wastefulness that we saw against Arsenal and we do find the back of the net. We had 15 shots from inside the box against Arsenal and no goals. And that's not good. But I want to know your score predictions because I'm going to go 2-1 United. That is what I'm going for. What are you guys saying in the chat? 100% of you still say we're going to win. I like the positivity. I'm all here for it. Up the fucking Reds. Danny's going 3-1. All right, more goals. I like that. What else are you guys saying? Sanjay says 1-3-1. You talking about Fulham? Or are you just doing it the proper way where you're showing Fulham first because they're at home? I'm going 2-1 United. That's my prediction. Andreas is going 3-1 United. Box is just, I want whatever Box is drinking on a Friday afternoon. 5-0 United. Box, if we are 5-0 United, I will give away 5 memberships on the next when we do the match reaction if we win 5-0. Teresa says 4-0 United, perhaps more. If we get 5-0, I'm giving away memberships on that match reaction for sure. So, but let me know your score predictions. I'm going 2-1. Make sure the notification bell is on to do before you guys leave today because I will have some guests stopping by my place on Sunday to watch this match. You might recognize a couple of them, and we'll be putting out some special content here and there on Sunday before the match, during the match, after the match. We will be checking in with you guys with some shorts and whatnot, taking some photos. So keep that notification bell on. Get involved in that, you guys. Remember, the under-18s play Middlesbrough tomorrow at like 7 a.m. It's on MUTV if you guys subscribe to that. Make sure you like that video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, check the memberships, check the UVE store. And as you can see in the top right corner of the screen, code to go get $5 off at GoGoalShop. Enter that code when you register. You'll get $5 off. They do have all 3 of this year's shirts on there as well. ITN says, this brother's a monster. He knows his football. Thank you for the stream. 2-1 United. Late goal wins it. Dude, ITN, I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. I just, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to deflect. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just a guy who loves United and wants to talk football, and so I'm happy to do it with y'all. It's been a blast, but I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sanjay says United are going to win. Bach says if we start finishing, it could get messy. Bexy's pulling us. Sean doing a 2-1 United late winner from Cunha. I like the positivity. So far, everyone's predicting a win. 100% of you predicting a win in the poll, so I like that. Love that. So hopefully we'll be talking about that again. Be sure to check in before, during, and after the match. Make sure you don't miss anything. Hit that notification bell. Tomorrow, under-18s play 7 a.m. Middlesbrough. Until next time, though, leave a comment if you guys weren't able to catch the live. You guys know I do check those comments as well. If there's any breaking news tomorrow, of course, we'll be checking in as well to get any of your thoughts on any of that. Maybe we could get a here we go on Send Lammens. If you weren't able to come in earlier in the video, we did go through some transfer news, so go rewatch it if you guys want to get caught up with that. But until next time, you guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Teresa says, why not more? Had the 7 shots on target gone in Sunday, the final score would be fabulous. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We just struggled to find the back of the net still because I think a lot of it had to do with how slow we were in the build-up, and just some of the shots we took were just kind of hopeful shots, so they're shots, but no, I agree. I think we could see more goals. We've added a lot of attackers, so I think that helps. But take it easy, guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.